Hi, and welcome to Baltimore County Public Schools Office of Special Education video tutorial on providing effective professional development. The title of today's video is 8 Things to Remember When Teaching the Adult Learner. As teachers, we're pretty good at teaching kids, young adults. However, when it comes to teaching other actual adults, a lot of times we fall short on how we deliver PD. A lot of times what we do for kids, we don't do for adults. Now, there is research that does show that adults do learn differently than children. And the purpose really of today's video is to kind of give you guys some quick tips, some quick ideas of things you can do when planning PD for adults, or when delivering PD for adults. Things you can keep in mind that you can do when you're doing that to make your presentation more effective for the adult learner. So let's get started. So the first thing you can do is set the environment. How many times have you been to a professional development where they had food? Yeah, exactly. It's much more engaging. You're immediately in a good mood when they have food and drink. Providing food for adults has shown to not only increase their motivation, but also their engagement during the professional development. But the environment's more than just food. It's where you have it also. You can take time before you actually deliver your PD to find a good space, making sure it's comfortable, the temperature is good, that people have enough space to work if you're going to work or move around, and just so that there's enough lighting, just so there's that whatever it is you're going to do in your professional development, that the setting doesn't detract from that. That's very important. The more things you can do up front to make people comfortable, the better your professional development will be, and the better they will be engaged and will learn. Okay, so the change process. And this is something that we will get more deeply into in a future video. But I just want to make you aware that Fullen did a lot of research on how adults change their mindsets. You know how adults are. I mean, they're pretty much set in their ways. It is difficult to get them to change how they think. Unlike kids, who it's kind of easy to kind of mold them and get them to change. As adults, we don't change as easily. And Fullen realized that and kind of did research on the process of what it takes to get people to change. The main takeaway from here that it's not an overnight thing. It does take time. And like I said, you can kind of look at this graphic here and kind of see some of the things that are involved. But I just want you to be aware of that just because you teach it doesn't mean they've already kind of adopted it and have already made that change within their own mindset. So just keep that in mind. Change takes place over time, and you need time to do that. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a few slides. Okay, another thing you can do is stick to your time. How many times have you been to a professional development? Let's say it was supposed to end at 11:30, but now it's 11:45 and the person's still presenting. I can almost guarantee you that you haven't listened to anything that person said in the last 15 minutes. That's because as adults, when we know what time something's supposed to end, we expect it to end at that time. So when you're planning a professional development, keep that in mind. Do not go over time. People don't like that. They tend to have, when that happens, they tend to leave your professional development with negative feelings. If you can, end early. That will actually make them more positive and more happy. But again, keep mindfulness of that time. Okay. The next piece is, immediate utility. What have you done for me lately? Adults want to know, and when they go into a professional development, they want to be able to leave there with something they can take back to their classroom and use right away, or some type of knowledge that they can incorporate immediately. Again, if something is too distant or too theoretical and there's no practical, adults tend to not hold on to that. So again, keep that in mind when you're planning. What is something they can leave your professional development with that they can use right now? If you can plan that in from the beginning, you have a much better chance of having what you're going to teach them or what you're going to say stick with them. Let's talk more action. Again, one of the biggest things I see with adult PD is the presenter just stands up and talks for the entire time. Again, the humans and adults can only really attend for a set amount of time. Once you get past that, our minds tend to wander. They tend to be doing other things. The less time you can spend actually talking at them, and the more time the participants can be engaged and they can practice, the skills or the techniques that you're teaching, the better off they're going to be. Get them involved, get them motivated. Again, if you can plan that in from the beginning, you'll have a much better success rate and people will have a much more positive, reaction to your professional development. Okay. So choice. Obviously, this is not anything new. We know about offering choice to students. We know about offering choice to adults. People like choice. They like to be able to kind of direct their own, go their own way. Again, where can we offer choice? We can offer choice in somewhat with what they learn, and we can offer choice in how they learn it. Again, very UDL-ish, universal design. Representation and engagement. How can we vary those up? How can we give people choices? When people have choices, they feel like they have control. When they feel like they have control, they're more likely to stay engaged with what you're telling them. Okay. The next thing is a foot wide, mile deep. One of the things research absolutely shows us is that adults would much rather prefer to take a deep dive into a single topic rather than touching the surface of many topics. So make your professional development ultra focused. Okay. What you want to do here is pick a set topic and go deep in it so they can get an understanding. They want to understand what you're telling them. They want to have a deeper understanding of a topic, so then they can internalize it and thus kind of implement whatever it is later on when they get back to their classrooms or to their workspace. Okay. Practice feedback and coaching. And I'm going to say this is probably the one area which we do as adults delivering professional development that we do the least. We can provide practice within the session, but how often do we go back and follow up with these individuals after the professional development to practice whatever skill we're trying to teach them, to give ongoing feedback, and honestly, to provide coaching. And again, going back to Fullen's model of change, what we talked about in, I think, the second or third slide was, that the change process within adults takes time. And part of that time is the constantly revisiting what the new learning is over time and giving participants feedback and kind of guiding them along the way. Again, I know this is difficult to do, but again, if this is something you can incorporate into your overall plan, you'll find a much, much better success rate with your adult learners. Okay. So I said this would be quick, and I'm going to make it quick. These are just 8 quick things, that can help you teach adult learners. Hopefully something in here kind of stuck, and hopefully you learned something. I want to thank you all for watching this short video, and good luck with your next professional development.